for Alabama. Ross, you've been there every step of the way since Orgeron was hired as a defensive line coach, when he made the move to the interim head coach, when he was tabbed as the permanent head coach, and on Saturday night with this win over Alabama. What have you made of this journey of LSU's head football coach?
Yeah, it's been incredible. It's been one of the better stories in college football right now. How someone who could go from even go way back to his days, fired at Miami and all that, and trouble off the field that we all know about, that I wrote about when he was hired, and the Ole Miss days, and not getting the USC job in the interim, and coming to LSU, and being the second or third pick for the LSU job, and then everybody doubting him, and then now to here, putting all these pieces together. He's made tons and tons of decisions. 3 or 4 of them, I think, you could see on the field on Saturday making a difference. And he has really let hired good people and let them do their job, and he's been the CEO, the recruiter, the motivator, the guy that kind of gets his team ready and prepared. The organizer. It's been like an evolution, of a head coach.
And it's been fascinating to watch. And look, although as LSU fans or players are saying, like they have bigger goals, there's much to work with. But Saturday, what a moment! You've covered a lot of college football, Ross. What was that experience like Saturday?
Yeah, I've never seen the post game reaction. I've never quite seen anything like it. I mean, I've covered a couple of national championship games, some SEC championship games. I've never quite seen what I saw on Saturday night, which was really a team, whether it's staff members or administrators or players or coaches, everybody, fans even, just expel so much frustration in a wild, celebration or in a road environment. It was just really unique, and you could tell that there was obviously some, pin up frustration from years of losing to that program, and it all kind of came out, on the field there, from the head coach to the associate athletic director, to the defensive line coach. I mean, everybody was just kind of expressing a relief,
Yeah.
Ross, there's some breaking news right now. There's some news breaking over at LSU that LSU has come to terms and agreed on an extension with passing game coordinator Joe Brady to keep him in Baton Rouge. The numbers and details of that has not yet been made public. This hasn't been anticipated in talking to some people around the program to get done. What has Brady done to his stock in just 9 games back into college football after making the move from the Saints last year?
Yeah, I had reported on Saturday night just a kind of a quote from LSU administrator, basically that they were prepared to pay whatever. They were prepared to do whatever to keep him. And I think those discussions have been had, and
sure,
maybe over the bye week kind of started up and things like that. And I'm expecting them to do whatever, and that's what they tell me, and they're going to do whatever they can, to keep him, whether it's money or titles or things like that. And they certainly need to. He's earned it. He's been an incredible program, and it'll be interesting to watch. I'm kind of in a position right now. I can't necessarily read what the breaking news specifically is right now, but I would be interested to watch what the well, how they handled the Steve Ensminger thing. Steve's obviously been a huge part of what they're doing there, and they work so well together. It
Yeah.
seems like it's really kind of a unique thing.
What do you think the biggest threat is for Brady? A college head coaching job or an NFL coordinator job?
I think he's 30 years old. He's
Because it's my
really,
belief he will not leave for another college coordinator job. Like LSU will not allow him to leave for another college coordinator job.
And why
that
would
would be a right? That would be a surprise, right? That would be something that would surprise me if he would leave. Honestly, if he would leave for another college job in general, in any college job. I mean, I don't necessarily. He's 30 years old. He's been a full-time really coach at the FBS level for 1 year. This
9
year,
games.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so I do not expect him to get some college head coaching job or something, although I've seen his name tossed out there. But I don't expect him to leave for any college assistant or coordinator job. It would be the NFL, you would think. The NFL is a place where he had spent a couple years with the Saints. You don't have to recruit there. That appeals to a lot of coaches.
Yeah.
So that's what they'd have to be concerned about.
Ross, there's so many great storylines and performances out of Saturday night. You mentioned Ogeron, of course, Joe Burrow, but what do you think this moment means to Clyde Edwards-Helaire? And like as a writer, kind of what's your view of that kind of moment?
Yeah, there's just so many stories with that team. This team, somebody texted me yesterday and was like, "Hey, are you national college football? Or are you back to an LSU writer?" Because I've written so much content about LSU this year, and really, especially in the past couple of weeks. But you're looking at the best story in college football, and I think it's my duty to kind of write about it, especially when I have connections down there by it, and so from Clyde, who was still kind of underrated at a high school. I mean, one of the other writers who had never interviewed Clyde came up to me after the game, after interviewing him, and said, "Holy cow, I did not know how short he was." And that's the whole thing with him. So Clyde and then Burrow, not winning the Ohio State job, thinking that he should have won it, leaving and doing what he's doing. Obviously, Joe Brady, like we talked about Ed Orgeron. There's just so many great stories, and LSU it's the best story right now in college football.
Do you see a true scenario where Alabama gets back into the playoff?
There's a 69% chance if they win out, according to the FPI, that they get back in.
Man,
which is sad.
A quote from, I think it was a Dennis Dodd story maybe a week ago or so, and he was quoting a former Wisconsin coach in AD, Barry Alvarez, and I think Alvarez said, if SEC gets a one-loss SEC team gets in the playoff over a one-loss Power 5 champion, we need to go.
It's broken.
To expand the playoff the next day.
It's broken.
And I think he's right. Yeah, I think I do. For the most part, I think he's right. Now, LSU at 11-1, and if they had lost that game to Alabama close or something, they would have certainly, I think, had a better argument because of their resume to do that. But Alabama, they're going to have, by the end of it, if they go 11-1, they'll have like maybe 1 or 2 quality wins. And so I can't imagine them getting in over a one-loss Pac-12 champion Oregon, over a one-loss Big 12 champion Oklahoma, although they continue to slip a little bit. But it would be a surprise if that happens this year.
Yeah, and look, then there's still a ton of football left to play. I mean, LSU and Georgia are hurtling towards each other in Atlanta. I will say this, though, Ross. Do you think it makes it, or does it not matter at all? Or does it make it tougher on the playoff committee trying to sell something like the eyeball test when they had Minnesota ranked 17 behind multiple 2-loss teams because of the eyeball test?
Yeah, I mean, and we do our top 10 as well, and I moved Minnesota. They were basically like my 11th team out of the top 10 in one spot, and then after the Penn State game, moved them all the way up to 4. Just because that I think, Penn State was the best team by far that they have played.
No doubt.
It was just tough to know to how good they were, and clearly they made a statement there. But they've obviously got a long road to go here. They've still got some tough road games, and then of course they'll have to potentially play Ohio State. So yeah, I mean, here's the thing: you've got to determine how you're going to rank teams, whether it be what they look like or strictly by their resume and more like computer numbers. And we've got a committee there so they can do both, and they can kind of put them together and combine them in a way where they can do both. And I don't know, man. Sometimes I don't know what exactly they're doing in the room, but it's tough. It's tough, and even my just top 10, I hear about it. Got all these fans mad at me for some irrelevant poll.
Yeah.
And mid-season irrelevant poll that's going to change. And so, being in the committee, they take so much heat. There's just no right answer sometimes, and it's a tough position to be in.
Delly, good stuff. Good work. We'll talk to you next Monday, man.